After weeks of effort, Peter, the brooding second lead, agreed to be my deskmate. But just as I started moving my things, Seraphina, the story's dazzling heroine, came running over and threw her arms around him. "It's really you. This time, I'll be the one to protect you," she said, her voice trembling. Pop-up captions flickered across my vision. "The female lead has been reborn. Time to chase her true love." Just one smile from her, and Peter would sacrifice everything. Poor Chloe doesn't stand a chance. Peter's face hardened, but he didn't push her away. "What do you want now?" he asked flatly. "Love letters? My competition spot." She shook her head, tears glistening on her cheeks. "I just want to stay by your side." Peter blinked, clearly thrown off, then glanced at me. "Let's hold off on moving the desks," he muttered. At that moment, all my efforts over the past 3 years felt meaningless. I whispered to the system in my head, "See? I was never the one meant to save him. Just send me home." When I finally dragged my desk to the back of the room, Seraphina was already stealing the spotlight again. She had cornered Adrian Pierce, the golden boy and male lead, with a bouquet of roses so large it looked like a prop from a drama. Her confidence filled the room. But before she could even start her confession, Adrian cut her off with icy precision. "Whatever you're planning, don't. I'm not interested." The color drained from Seraphina's face. For a moment, she stood frozen, the entire class holding its breath. Then, her gaze darted to the clock on the wall. Something changed in her eyes, like she'd just remembered something terrifying. Without another word, she shoved past everyone, the scent of roses trailing behind her, and crashed into Peter's arms. "Thank goodness, I can see you again," she sobbed. "This time, I'll protect you." Peter looked stunned, his hands hovering uncertainly in the air. The classroom fell silent. New lines of text appeared before me like a feed of divine spoilers. In her last life, Seraphina married Adrian, but he cheated on her. She lost her baby and died heartbroken. All while Peter, the boy who loved her quietly, watched from the shadows. He once ran into a burning building for her and was scarred for life. Later, when she ran into the road after a fight with Adrian, Peter threw himself in front of a truck to save her. He never said he loved her, but he gave her everything. She's back now to change that. Adrian can rot. Wait. Adrian's reaction seemed odd. Did he get reborn too? The room erupted in whispers and laughter. "Seraphina, didn't you just confess to Adrian? Rejected by one, and now moving to the next. Doesn't Chloe like Peter? Wow, this is messy." Their eyes darted between the four of us, amusement clear on their faces. Peter's expression darkened. He pitted Seraphina, yes, but he also hated that Adrian had been the one she'd loved so boldly. Peter and Seraphina had grown up in different worlds. She came from wealth and privilege. He was the son of her family servants. After his parents died, they took him in out of charity, giving him a small allowance each month. To her, Peter had always been someone to order around. "Give Adrian your umbrella. Let him have your notes. Skip the exam, so he can be first." Now, when she claimed she wanted him, he didn't believe it. His lips curved into a bitter smile. "What do you want this time? To use me again? Write your love letters for him? Give up my spot." Her voice wavered, but didn't break. "No, Peter. I want you." Then, louder, she declared, "It's fine if you don't believe me now. I'll make you believe me with time." She turned toward me, her eyes flashing. "Move." Before I could react, she shoved me aside, dragging my freshly moved desk across the floor until it screeched. She jammed it into the corner beside the trash bin, then fetched her own desk and slammed it down beside Peter's. "From now on, I'm the only one sitting next to you," she announced proudly, eyes shining with determination. Peter stared at her, speechless. His gaze flicked away from her and landed on me. After a long pause, he sighed softly. "Forget it. Let's leave the desks as they are." I summoned the system again. "You see? It was never me. I was never the one who could save him. So please, just let me go home." Back in my own world, I'd had a perfectly normal life before being dragged into this one and tethered to an emotionless AI. It had told me my task was to redeem the tragic second male lead, the boy destined for pain and ruin. If I could prevent his disfigurement and death, I could finally return home. Peter was the loner who always sat in the back of the classroom, silent and unreachable. Every bit of warmth he had was reserved for Seraphina. My every attempt to reach out had been met with cold indifference or curt dismissal.
Until last week.
He'd been cornered by a group of bullies after class. One of them raised an iron pipe and aimed straight for the back of his head. I didn't think, I just moved. The blow landed on me instead. It was the first time Peter ever looked shaken. He dropped to his knees beside me, his hands trembling. "Who told you to interfere?" he shouted, his voice raw with panic. The pipe had left a deep bruise on my back, though the system had softened the impact. While I was in the hospital, Peter stayed to look after me. I'd used that small moment of vulnerability to ask if I could be his desk mate. After some hesitation, he'd agreed. That hard-earned spot, something I'd literally bled for, Seraphina had claimed within minutes, with nothing but a few tears. Now that she's reborn, she'll protect him, I told the system. There's no reason for me to stay anymore. The voice in my head responded, flat and mechanical. Error. New variable detected. Mission no longer required. Per protocol, you may select a death node to return to your original world. 3 years I'd been stuck here. I'd built a life, made friends, and even earned teachers' trust. Exams were only a week away. If I vanished now, if I died, it would affect them all. After the finals, I said quietly. Request accepted. Seraphina's shove had slammed me into the wall, and a dull ache rippled through the spot where the pipe had hit me weeks ago. I bit down a wince. Then, unexpectedly, a small bottle of painkillers appeared in front of me. Adrian was standing there. His usual cool expression softened as he nodded toward my back. "You've reopened the wound. Want to go to the nurse's office?" It was ironic. Someone who barely knew me noticed immediately. Meanwhile, Peter didn't even look up. In just a few minutes, his desk had transformed into something pink and glittery. Seraphina had plastered heart-shaped stickers across his books and replaced his dark thermos with a pastel one covered in cartoon rabbits. A pink hair tie dangled around his wrist, and her blazer hung loosely over his shoulders. In her hands was the lunchbox I'd prepared for him that morning. She took a bite, grimaced dramatically, and tossed the whole thing into the trash. "My dog wouldn't touch this," she sneered. "No wonder you're so thin. From now on, you'll eat with me." Peter's eyes lingered on the lunchbox lying in the garbage. He said nothing. I left before the silence could crush me and went to the nurse's office to have my back rebandaged. By the time I returned, the classroom was empty except for one person, Adrian. My desk was now beside his. "My old seat partner was Seraphina," he said simply. "Since she moved, I figured you could sit here instead." It didn't really matter. My mission was over, my exit already decided. "It's late," he said, slinging his bag over his shoulder. "Want me to walk you home?" I opened my mouth to refuse. I didn't need any new complications, but before I could speak, a voice cut in from the doorway, cool and sharp. "That won't be necessary," Peter said. "I'll take her home." Peter lived in one of the oldest districts across town, in a small, crumbling building with faded paint and creaking stairs. To fulfill my mission, I had rented the room next door, making myself part of his everyday life. Every morning and afternoon, I'd trail after him, talking nonstop. If he got irritated, he'd shove his earbuds in and pretend not to hear. It never stopped me. I told him everything. How the white cat on campus had given birth to 6 kittens, how the cafeteria's sweet and sour pork was far too salty, what university I dreamed of getting into, and even how many times I'd gone to the bathroom that day. He'd always whip his head around, cheeks flushed with annoyance. "Why are you telling me this?" I'd grin. "Oh, I thought you couldn't hear me with your earbuds in." He'd sigh, shove his hands in his pockets, and walk faster. "Am I really that annoying?" I'd call after him. Before he could answer, I'd laugh softly to myself. "You know, people talk a lot when they're happy. And being near you makes me happy. That's all. I just hope one day you'll want to talk to me too." He'd always look away, as though my words were too bright to face. But every time, he'd quietly remove his earbuds. He still never waited for me, though. Back then, I thought the idea of him walking beside me, actually talking, was just a fantasy. Something that could never happen. And yet, today it did. The sound of cicadas filled the humid evening air as Peter spoke beside me, his voice steady, uncharacteristically talkative. "I didn't expect Seraphina to move her desk next to mine," he said. "Probably another one of her whims. Give her a few days, she'll get bored and move back, and you and I can sit together again." He kept talking. "She's tougher than she looks." Her hands were red from moving the desks herself, but she still smiled. He chuckled under his breath. She also said she dreamed I died saving her. Can you believe that? As if I'd ever do something that stupid. It was strange. He was saying more words in one walk than I'd heard from him in months, and every single one was about her. As we reached the narrow alley leading to my home, I stayed silent. He stopped walking. Why aren't you talking today? What could I even say? I wanted to ask if he was happy. If she made him happy. Instead, my voice came out quieter than I expected. Are you happy right now? Peter froze, eyes widening slightly. Before he could answer, a car door slammed open down the street. Seraphina hopped out, sunlight catching her hair, and ran toward us. She slipped her arm through his leg. She had every right to. I'll be walking him home from now on, she said brightly. No need for an outsider like you anymore. Before I could respond, Peter spoke. She's not an outsider. The world seemed to stop. Even Peter looked stunned by his own words. His jaw tightened, as though he regretted saying them. You should go home, he murmured finally. The summer wind pressed hot against my face, stealing the breath from my lungs. As I turned to leave, I heard him call after me, softer now. It's not safe around here at night. Go straight home. Then he led Seraphina away, walking her carefully back to her car. And I stood there, alone in the dim alley, realizing the truth I had always known. Seraphina was the center of his world. The system had made a mistake. I didn't belong in this story. I never had. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a message from Peter. I've got something to take care of today. Don't wait for me. When I arrived at school, both his and Seraphina's seats were empty. Adrian caught me glancing toward them. It's Seraphina's birthday, he said calmly. Peter's helping her pick out a gift. So that was it. His mysterious something. Peter was the kind of person who never missed class. He once attended school with a high fever, refusing to rest. Even when I was in the hospital, he'd only visit after lessons ended. Yet now, just days before final exams, he had skipped school entirely for her birthday. But for Peter, Seraphina's birthday wasn't trivial. It was sacred. He didn't show up at all that day. I walked home alone under the pale glow of streetlights. When I unlocked my door, there was a knock behind me. I opened it and found myself face to face with a giant teddy bear, almost as tall as me. It completely hid the person holding it. Then the bear tilted aside, and Peter's face appeared, cheeks red from the cold. Happy birthday, he said softly. I blinked, confused. I'd forgotten my own birthday. How did you know? He smiled faintly. You told me. You said when you were little, you were afraid of the dark at the orphanage, and you always wished you had a big teddy bear to keep you company. But there was never enough money for that. I stared at him. I'd told him that story months ago, when he'd been wearing his earbuds. I'd thought he hadn't even heard me. He reached out his right hand. His fingers were red and rough, the knuckles scraped. I saved up washing dishes on weekends, he said. I broke a few plates at first, so they cut my pay. Otherwise, I could have gotten you a bigger one. My breath caught. He'd spent his rare free time, his precious study hours, working a part-time job in a hot kitchen for this. He pushed the bear toward me, his expression shy but hopeful. Then the mocking pop-ups appeared again. Wow, the side characters actually touched. Wait till she learns that this was meant for Seraphina first, and she called it cheap. He's just regifting it. I stepped back instinctively. The bear slipped from my hands and landed in a dusty heap on the floor. I don't want it. Peter froze. His hands hung midair, color draining from his face. He opened his mouth, but no words came out, only a small, broken "oh." After a moment, he tried again, voice trembling. Did something happen at school today? You can talk to me. Nothing. I cut him off, sharper than I intended. Then I shut the door in his face, locking both him and the truth outside. Saturday morning, I went to school to clear out my locker. As I turned into the alley behind my apartment, Seraphina stepped in front of me, blocking my path. She gave me a slow, assessing look. Why are you always around, Peter? I don't remember seeing you before. I had no patience for this. I turned to leave. A sharp snap of her fingers stopped me. Several tall guys appeared at the end of the alley, holding iron pipes, cutting off my escape. Seraphina walked up, her eyes gleaming with smug amusement. Peter gave you a teddy bear, didn't he? Funny thing, that was originally mine. I told him it looked childish, so he passed it on to you. I kept my expression neutral. And what exactly do you want? She smirked. I want it back. It was the first thing he ever bought with his own money. You think someone like you deserves it? An orphan nobody wants.
The word hit like a slap.
Only Peter knew that part of my past, how the nights in the orphanage were long and cold, how I used to envy the kids whose parents came to pick them up. And I had begged him never to tell anyone. Seraphina tilted her head, savoring my silence. What's wrong? Did I strike a nerve? Poor thing, you've probably never gotten a real gift before, huh? I clenched my fists. Move. She stepped closer, her voice a whisper filled with triumph. I just texted Peter. Let's see who he comes for. Right then, hurried footsteps echoed down the alley. Peter appeared, his face pale with alarm. Seraphina screamed suddenly and lurched forward. The men behind her swung their pipes, one toward my back, the other toward her head. Time froze. Peter's eyes widened in horror. He lunged toward Seraphina. The next second, a white-hot pain tore through my back. My knees buckled, cold sweat dripping down my spine. Peter held Seraphina in his arms, panic written all over his face. Are you hurt? Talk to me. She shook her head weakly, but when her gaze met mine over his shoulder, she smiled, victorious and cruel. I stared at Peter's back and remembered what he once told me after I took a hit meant for him. Don't you ever do that again. I'm supposed to protect you. Apparently, that promise came with conditions. The darkness in my vision spread, swallowing the edges of the world. The last thing I saw before it consumed me was Peter's horrified face, frozen mid-step, as if he had just realized what he'd done. I whispered to the system, "Take me home." When I opened my eyes, I was staring at a white ceiling. "You're awake," a nurse exclaimed as she entered with a tray. "Your boyfriend finally left to get you some porridge. He's been here all night." Boyfriend? My mind reeled. I called out mentally, "System, why am I still here?" Its mechanical tone responded. "The death node cannot be altered. Please wait patiently for extraction." But Seraphina was reborn, I said. She might stop the fire from happening. In the original plot, their class holds a graduation party at a restaurant that catches fire. After fighting with Adrian, Seraphina hides in a stairwell and isn't evacuated. Peter goes back inside to save her, and though he succeeds, a falling beam disfigures his face. If she prevented the fire, my death point and my way home would vanish. Then you will remain here, indefinitely. The door opened. Peter walked in, carrying a thermos. His eyes were red, his expression drawn. He rushed to my side, nearly tripping against the bed frame. His hand twitched toward me, but he stopped short, guilt flickering across his face. "I'm sorry," he murmured. He opened the thermos. "You should eat something." The nurse said light food only. He spooned up some porridge, blew on it gently, and held it out. I cooked it myself. I turned my head away. Those guys in the alley, Seraphina sent them. She planned everything to make you choose her and destroy me. Peter froze. He didn't look surprised. My stomach dropped. "You knew." He said nothing. "I'm calling police," I said. The spoon clattered into the bowl. "No." His voice cracked. "Please don't. She still has finals. A report would ruin her future." Cold disbelief spread through me. "Her exams." I laughed softly, the sound jagged. My back's injured again. "I can't take mine either. But that doesn't matter, right? As long as she's okay. If I were just an ordinary girl, how hopeless would I feel right now?" Peter's lips trembled. His eyes were bloodshot. Suddenly, he dropped to his knees beside me. "I know I'm trash. I'll make it right. Please don't call the police. I'll take responsibility. I'll repeat the year with you, go to the same university, take the same major. After graduation, I'll marry you." I picked up my phone. The system's voice blared urgently. "Warning. Host is interfering with the main female lead's core arc. Proceeding will erase all evidence and void your return passage." "What if I don't care?" I whispered. "Final warning." I gripped the phone tighter, the pain in my back pulsing with my heartbeat. Then I looked at Peter, my voice calm and cutting. "Get out." Over the next few days, Peter never left my side. He didn't attend school. During the day, he worked at a construction site, and at night, he picked up shifts at the hospital as an orderly. He slept in stairwells, hid in bathrooms during patrols, and used every bit of his pay to cover my hospital bills. He talked constantly, maybe to fill the silence between us, maybe to ease his guilt. The cafeteria lady said millet porridge helps you heal faster. I told her to add extra dates. "Is it too sweet? I can try pumpkin next time." "Did you hear about the old man in room 302 sneaking out again for a smoke?" The nurse caught him. He looked like a kid getting scolded. I found a decent prep school nearby. If I save enough by summer, we can both enroll, sit together again. It was almost funny, we'd switched roles. I was the quiet one now, earphones in, pretending not to hear. Whenever I couldn't stand his voice anymore, I'd tell him to leave, but he never did. The day before final exams, Seraphina showed up at my door. Peter was calmly peeling an apple beside my bed, the knife gliding in a smooth spiral. "Where's your exam center?" she asked briskly. "I'll have my family book a hotel for you, maybe even a driver." "Not necessary," Peter said without looking up. She frowned. "Don't be stubborn. This is the most important test of our lives.
You need rest."
"I'm expecting you to get into the same university as me." He finally sliced the apple into neat wedges, set them on a plate, and slid it toward me. Only then did he meet her eyes, and his were completely cold. "I'm not taking the exam." Seraphina blinked. "What?" "Seraphina," he said quietly, "my parents worked for your family. After they died, your parents helped me, so I listened to you. But I'm earning my own money now. I don't need your help anymore." Her voice trembled. "What are you saying? You love me?" He shook his head.
"No.
"I don't. I love Chloe." Her face went pale. "That's impossible. Did you remember something?" Peter frowned. "I don't know what you mean. This has nothing to do with memory. It's my choice." Seraphina's gaze snapped to me, her expression twisting. "This isn't how it went before. You changed it, didn't you?" Peter immediately stepped in front of me. "You should leave. You're upsetting her." I met Seraphina's furious stare and silently mouthed 2 words. "You're right." When finals ended, Seraphina organized a class celebration. She invited everyone and even tagged me and Peter directly, saying the night wouldn't be complete without us. Peter frowned at his phone. "You shouldn't go. Your back's not fully healed. It'll be crowded. What if someone bumps into you?" My eyes lingered on the restaurant's name in the invitation. My heart dropped. It was the restaurant, the one from the original timeline, the night of the fire. This was my chance to return home. "I'm going," I said. "But your injury." "I'll manage." He hesitated, then nodded.
"Fine.
"I'll stay with you. If you feel any pain, we leave immediately." The party was loud, full of laughter. But Seraphina was missing. Peter stayed close, constantly fussing, pouring drinks, putting food on my plate. I barely touched it, just quietly watching the clock. "Are you in pain?" he asked again, worried. "We can go home early." Before I could answer, his phone rang. Seraphina's name flashed across the screen. He hesitated, then picked up. Her voice came through, trembling and broken. "Peter, I was in an accident at Fortune Avenue. There's blood everywhere. It hurts. Please hurry." Then the line went dead. Peter's face went completely white. He shot to his feet, knocking his chair over. "What happened?" someone asked. "Seraphina. She's been in a crash. Fortune Avenue." A few classmates immediately volunteered to check. "I live nearby," one said. "We'll go." Peter stopped mid-run, swallowing hard. "Thanks," he turned back to me and forced a shaky smile. "You're still healing. I'll stay here." He tried to act calm, but his hands trembled on the table, tapping out an anxious rhythm. I watched him in silence. His worry filled the air like smoke. Finally, I said quietly, "You can go." He blinked. "What?" "You don't need to stay. I'll be fine." "But you're back. If you want to go, then go." From beside us, Adrian spoke for the first time.
"Go.
I'll take care of her." Peter hesitated, then gave a quick nod. "I'll be right back. Text me if anything happens." And he ran out. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Someone asked me to give you something. Left stairwell." I took a slow breath. Then I drafted a new message to the fire department, listing the restaurant's address and all the safety hazards I'd noticed. I scheduled it to send in 10 minutes. Then I stood. "Where are you going?" Adrian asked. "Home," I said simply. He smiled faintly. "Then goodbye." The fire came, just as the story had predicted.
"Fire. Get out."
"Don't use the elevator." Screams, crashing sounds, and frantic footsteps filled the air. Thick smoke coiled upward, swallowing the light. I summoned the system. "I'm ready to go home." Acknowledged. Initiating return sequence. Countdown. 1 minute. Due to accumulated injuries during your mission, a compensation of $3 million will be transferred to your bank account in your original world. A wave of relief passed through me. I already imagined the quiet life I would build once I got back. Then my phone started to vibrate violently. It was Peter. "I'm heading back to the restaurant," he said between ragged breaths. Seraphina wasn't in an accident. She admitted it was just a prank. I could hear Seraphina shouting in the background. "Peter, don't you dare go back. Move aside," he snapped. Then softer, to me, "Wait for me. I'm almost there." I didn't answer. His voice was strained, the wind roaring around him, car horns blaring, sirens howling in the distance. Then came the crash, the groan of bending steel and falling beams. "What's that sound?" Peter's voice rose, wild with panic. "Are those sirens? Who's screaming? What's happening? Where are you? Tell me where you are." His voice broke, trembling with terror. "Answer me. Please say something. Are you safe?" I held the phone against my ear and listened to the frantic, helpless voice of a man too late to save anything. A bitter kind of peace settled over me. Countdown. 10 seconds. 10-9. Peter. The other end fell silent, except for his unsteady breathing. I smiled faintly, the smoke swirling around me. I could almost see his face, pale and horrified. "Congratulations," I whispered, my voice soft as drifting ash. "You're finally free." "What are you talking about?" "Countdown complete. Transfer in progress." "Countdown complete. Transfer in progress." The white light engulfed me. I ended the call and stepped forward, walking straight into the glow that would take me home. When I opened my eyes, I was back in my own world. The bank notification confirmed it. The $3 million were real. I quit my job that same week and bought a little bookstore at the end of a quiet, tree-lined street. I filled it with warm light, floor-to-ceiling windows, and a courtyard full of flowers. Life finally felt peaceful. Every month, I donated a portion of my earnings to the orphanage where I'd grown up. I even volunteered there once in a while. Then one afternoon, as I was chatting with the director, a familiar, mechanical voice echoed in my mind. "Host, the story world is collapsing. Please return and stabilize it." I froze. What happened? The system's tone was unusually frantic. 7 years have passed in that world. The male lead, Adrian, left. The second male lead, Peter, has completely fallen apart. He ruined Seraphina's family, sent them to prison, and now he's trying to end his own life. It showed me a recording. Peter was stumbling into a fire, wild-eyed and desperate. Adrian intercepted him, breaking his knee to stop him from running further. Even crawling, Peter dragged himself toward the flames, leaving bloody streaks across the floor while Adrian hauled him back. The firefighters came too late. In that world, I was listed as the only casualty. A better ending than before. Afterward, Adrian told Peter everything, the truth about their existence, that they were only characters in a book, that I wasn't dead but gone. And that if Peter wanted to see me again, he'd have to destroy the world itself. Peter believed him. He carried out his revenge, then returned to the small apartment I once lived in. He sat there on the sofa, pale and hollow, clutching the teddy bear I had once rejected. Blood dripped from the self-inflicted cut on his wrist. He was waiting for the end. "Host, if you go back now, you can still save him." "I refuse," I said coldly. Why should I abandon the peace I had finally earned to save the man who had only ever hurt me? The first time I was forced to stay. But now I had a choice. "I'm never going back," I said, my voice steady. "Leave me alone." "Chloe? Are you all right?" The director's worried tone snapped me out of my daze. "You've been staring off for a while." The system's voice was gone, silent, as if it had never existed. A moment later, the low hum of a car pulling up outside reached my ears. I glanced toward the gate and froze. The book in my hand slipped and hit the ground with a soft thud. Standing there, framed by the sunlight, was Adrian. Not the young man I remembered from that world, the one with an easy smile and an uncertain heart. This Adrian was older, taller, his features sharper and his presence calm but commanding. The boyish warmth had been replaced by quiet confidence. He bent down, picked up the fallen book, and handed it to me. His lips curved slightly. "I told you," he said, voice low and sure. "We'd meet again." "Chloe," he said gently, "you don't remember me, do you?" "You're the male lead from the book," I answered carefully. He chuckled, the sound soft but tinged with something sad. "And in this world?" I hesitated. Nothing came to mind. He seemed to read it in my expression and let out a quiet sigh. I thought so. I was here too, in this orphanage. 2 years younger than you. Back then, I was small, quiet, and always getting picked on. The older kids used to steal my food. A faint image flickered in my memory. Rough laughter, a crowded cafeteria, a group of bullies. It was during the Mid-Autumn Festival, he went on, eyes distant. Everyone got a mooncake with dinner. They cornered me again that night. Then you showed up, grabbed your tray, and dumped your entire meal over the ringleader's head. My eyes widened. I did remember that. The bully had gone silent, shocked, and walked away. I never realized the trembling boy behind him was Adrian. He smiled faintly. Not long after that, a family adopted me. I wanted to thank you, but I never got the chance. I remember now, I said slowly. But how did you end up in the book? His gaze met mine, steady and unguarded. Because I couldn't find you. The words hit harder than I expected. After I was adopted, I kept track of you quietly. I knew where you studied, where you worked. Then one day you vanished. Everyone who had ever known you forgot you existed. He looked away, his jaw tightening. They said I'd imagined you, that you were just some dream I'd made up. Then something calling itself a system contacted me. It asked if I wanted to become the male lead of a story because you were there too. So I agreed. And the next thing I knew, I was 18 again, standing in a classroom while Seraphina confessed to me. I stared at him, stunned. What was your role supposed to be? To play along, he said simply. To follow the plot. But the story doesn't end until they're 30. Why would the system let you leave early? His expression softened. Because you left. There was no reason for me to stay. I frowned. The system just let you go? He hesitated for a long moment before nodding. But I could tell it hadn't been that simple. The look in his eyes said enough. The truth was darker. He had forced his way out. The system wanted him to finish the script, so he ended his own life. When it revived him, he did it again.
And again.
Until the system, drained and desperate to preserve itself, finally gave in and sent him back to the real world. But he didn't tell me that part.